I look into plant medicine because I found it to be so much more beneficial than any pharmaceutical companies.
Without all the side effects.
Our bodies actually have a system that receives the cannabis, and the entire job of the endocannabinoid system is to restore our bodies to homeostasis. It can be something that people see as like a benefit to the community.
Another thing that really sets us apart is how we educate our consumers.
Yes.
We're giving free consultations for our customers to walk in the door and have questions. Senate Bill 3, what the bill would do if passed, it would make all hemp-derived THC products illegal. It's a total ban, giving essentially 3 reasons why he wants to ban THC products in the state of Texas.
What are they?
One is he says all 3 invalid.
Wow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Teevee Marketing Podcast. I'm still having trouble saying that out loud because I'm working on rebranding it a little bit and also working on a new series titled the Local Business Legends Series, in which I try to highlight local businesses, much like this one we're in today, House of Healing and today we're actually with the founder, owner, Summer.
Yes.
I knew that. Summer and manager, Tracy. And we're going to have a conversation. We're going to get into it here in a second. But I wanted to explain the series itself. Is to highlight local businesses that are doing some fantastic work, not just in providing great services and products, but actually helping contribute to the overall benefit, health of the community. So House of Healing came up as one of those businesses that I think are doing just that, because they focus on mental wellness and health as a whole. So, Summer, we'll get started with you for right now. I'm curious to hear, what was the impetus for this? Because you come from a medical traditional nurse, which you can tell us more about that. But what triggered this massive different thing to do, start a business in the CBD space?
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey for me. So a long time ago, I was a nurse in the ICU. I worked at Baylor in the CV ICU, recovering open heart surgeries, heart and lung transplants, and then moved into the medical device world as a consultant, where I met my husband. And then we spent some time traveling, and then we had kids, and then I was a stay-at-home mom. And you can imagine the stress and anxiety and sort of mental toll that kind of that change takes. And at the same time, one of my best friends from childhood, Brittany, who's my business partner, was opening her store in Abilene. And so she's actually the founder of the brand House of Healing. And her store was open for about 2 years. And then my husband was also finishing his MBA. So he's really, deep into the kind of business side of it, what's happening in the entrepreneurial space. And he identified cannabis as an industry that he was curious about and was interested in getting into. And we saw how Brittany was doing it so differently than anything that we had ever seen before. It wasn't a vape shop. It wasn't a head shop. It was a boutique that specialized in cannabis, but just from a woman's perspective. And I thought that was so beautiful. And I had been a marijuana user recreationally. And it just, I loved this new approach to it. It was taking a lot of the stigma out of it. It was just looking at it from a new perspective. And I saw the opportunity to use my RN to help legitimize an industry that I knew was plagued with such stigma that it was like a barrier for a lot of people to access it. And so it just became just a real interest to me to figure out how we could reach more people for the benefits of the plant that I knew I had experienced personally, and I had seen so many people around me, have positive effects from, and I wanted to help provide that to our community.
I love it. It's fantastic. I obviously see the difference. When you walk into this shop, you'll see a huge difference versus a smoke shop. I've only been in there once or twice. I've personally never even smoked marijuana in my life, even recreationally. But when I have stepped into those places, because I did have a lot of friends that did that type of work, it's really young. It's really dark. Right. Everything is just different. But when you come in here, there's a vibe and a culture in here that is welcoming. So job well done.
Thank you.
Geez, I'm gonna have to Tracy. For you, I have a question just in terms of you work here. How long have you been working here?
I helped open the store. It's been more than 3 years. December was our 3rd year anniversary.
Congratulations. I heard there was a big party. What drew you to this space and to Summer?
Well, Summer and Tyler were friends of mine for 15, 16 years before they offered to bail me out of the corporate sales environment. I had an entire career in corporate sales, and I found it more and more difficult to get up every day and go make money for other people.
Very familiar with that.
Corporate sales is real. It's competitive. It's dog eat dog. You can be a hero for a day. The next day you're concerned about layoffs and there's any number of things. Crushing your quota 1 year and then they just increase it the next year, make it more difficult to keep the same lifestyle. I mean, I'd finally had enough, and I found the opportunity not only to work with good friends of mine that I trusted, but to be able to help people improve their lifestyle. It's just a lot more fulfilling than pursuing the almighty dollar for someone else.
Right. Speaking of how you're helping people's lifestyles, what are those benefits that you're have found CBD helps with?
The majority of the people that come in are looking for relief from anxiety, to improve sleep, to improve mood, for pain, and then some just recreationally. Would you add to that?
Are there any particular instances where you've had some personal stories from people walking in of how they have helped? Can you share one or two of those?
Oh my gosh, so many.
Obviously, this isn't going to be everyone, but individual success stories that maybe even rocked you a little bit.
Yeah, I told you to leave those tissues out that I wasn't going to cry. So, no. Gosh, I mean, we just last fall filmed 5 testimonials, and that's honestly been the highlight of this career for me, this new career for me, and I reference it all the time. I'm just so proud of that, and I look back at it, and I am amazed at I reached out to 5 people. I knew I wanted 5. I had a list of 6 or 7, thinking some of these people are going to decline, and every person that I reached out to was like, absolutely, yes, I want to do this. I want to share my story. And so that alone was so touching. And then just to hear the stories, getting off alcohol, getting off pharmaceutical medications, just getting a good night's sleep for the first time, after months of struggle. There's countless stories. Honestly, I couldn't, we'd be here all day. So yeah, just there's no end to the gratifying feeling that we get from working here and working with people.
Would it be safe to say that in 3 years you've changed a lot of lives?
Yes, mine included.
Yours included. How would you say yours? Give us your story as it relates to the CBD.
Well, in the beginning, there was just a lot of confusion. I'd never been a business person before. I'd never been a boss before. I'd never been in a manager role professionally. So thank God for Tracy, because he had that corporate experience, and he helped me with so many just operational things that, I just didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I was so grateful for the guidance of Tracy, and he's been an amazing mentor to me to get through that first year, 2 years of how are we even gonna keep the lights on? How do we keep doing this and get to the while we're really in it? But this last year has been a revelation. Honestly, it's just, I think about how I fit in this industry differently. I think about the longevity of my role in this industry differently than I did before, and I just feel like it's a special thing that I'm able to do, having the experience of an RN, and then being able to come in to an industry that's still very much growing, and we're still kind of on the cusp of what it could be, and just show it kind of be a trailblazer in the industry. And I don't mean that to sound I don't want to focus too much on myself or say that I'm the only one doing this, but no. I think that, especially with Senate Bill 3 and all the regulations that the risk of taking THC away altogether, I think that we're trying to set an example of what the industry can and should look like. And it should be regulated and it should be age gated, and it can be something that people see as like a benefit to the community and to your general wellness. We just have to show people that it can be different.
Absolutely.
Are you tired of burning through your marketing budget faster than you can say ROI? Posting on social media, crickets. Running ads, more crickets. Watching your marketing strategy flop like a fish out of water while you quietly sob into your coffee. Fear not, this episode of the Teevee Show podcast is brought to you by, well, me. Teevee the Marketer, founder of Rockstar.Marketing, here to stop the madness. We take your marketing dollars and actually make them do something, like work. Want video content and ads that'll stop your audience from scrolling faster than they stop for a baby panda video? Yeah, we do that. So, if you're done setting your marketing dollars on fire, visit www.rockstar.marketing and let's turn those crickets into cash.
If I may, Tracy, could you tell me, in your opinion, what are the big stigmas that we are trying to overcome? What are the psychological beliefs that people have that we need to get rid of? Obviously, it's going to take time, but what are those, in your opinion?
Good question. One of them is that the products aren't regulated, which is entirely false. We are, in fact, regulated, by the Department of State Health Services. Another is that it is for lazy teenagers, and that you can't be productive using THC. That's been around for a long time, and some of that goes back to the films that they made back in the late 60s and early 70s.
The propaganda.
When in fact there are specific types of THC products that do in fact just relax you and basically help you shut off your mind so that you can in fact relax and sleep. But there are other products with THC that do the opposite. They can be very creative, very energetic. We have a lot of products that help people stay on task when in fact they, without the product, they may have a hard time focusing on a specific task and getting it done or doing it properly. And so a lot of it is people that haven't tried the products. They've only heard, the negatives associated with it. And, until you've tried the right product for the right place and the right time, then it's hard to understand the power that these products can really have when used properly.
What would you say would be a major difference in how you are branding and displaying and selling the products versus what is the preconceived notion of the smoke shops? Mm-hmm. What would be one of the major? I see it just by stepping in here, but if you could share that with the audience.
Well, our packaging, for one, is not confusing. It is what it says it is. It's very clear what it is when you're looking at it. It can't be confused with something that might be intended for children, which is a big topic that the state legislature is discussing right now. Our policy is to only sell to 21 plus. That's something that we hope the state will enforce after this legislature closes. And but it's something that we feel is the right thing to do. And so that's been our policy since we opened. So no THC sales to under 21. That's clearly marked on our package. Our packaging has QR codes that you can scan that take you to our certificate of analysis. We've got that for every single product in the store so that you can see how much THC is in it, or if there's zero THC, which several of our products have zero THC. You can see all the panel of cannabinoids. You can see that there's no heavy metals. There's no additional chemicals like cutting agents that are found in some products. So just a total transparency is what we have with our packaging, with our presentation. It looks not sterile, but it's displayed in a way that it's bright and it's well lit in here. It doesn't feel dark and intimidating or young.
I feel like a part of it is that it doesn't feel like you're hiding anything.
No.
Like the overall vibe is you're not trying to hide information or yourself or the product.
That's right.
You're being really clear about it. One of the things that I've encountered, I've been experimenting with psychedelics. Mm-hmm. And as I'm researching and understanding it, just knowing that there's so much crap out there that's mislabeled and that there's been deaths because of it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you guys are really trying to be the anti that.
Absolutely.
you're trying to stand, be a beacon of hope for everyone else, and I applaud you for that. Which leads us straight into the State Bill 3,
Senate Bill 3.
If you could tell us about that. Let's imagine that I don't know a dang thing about the bill, which I don't. But what are the implications? What are the ramifications of if this were to pass, and what's happening at the state that we're trying to stop from happening, and who's fighting the good cause to be the voice of reason?
I'm happy to, but if I could kind of back up to readdress. Another thing that really sets us apart is how we educate our consumers.
Yes.
Right. Being such a new industry, we had to do tons of research on our own as we opened the store, as we began to bring in customers. And the more research we did, the more we found discrepancies, and we really dug deep into the information, and we continue to. And we found immediately that our customers had more questions than we did. So the majority of the service that we provide, in addition to the atmosphere and the labeling of the packaging, is we provide information. We're giving free consultations for our customers to walk in the door and have questions. And you'd be shocked at the number of customers that walk in the door. They either know nothing, or they know a little bit, or they have bad information and have to be re-educated. So education is huge. Just want to make sure
When I first came in here, that was an impression I got, because I came in here with my fiance, Carla. Hi. And I immediately heard the conversations and the education, and the more that I was getting into the space just from a user, I guess, the more I realized there's a ton of questions I have, because I also was raised in an era where the entire just say no.
Yeah.
And that's where the stigma is coming from that education. I immediately felt more relaxed because of it, because I still don't know what I don't know. And the stuff it's a little overwhelming, because you're also kind of fighting some pre-programmed material. But I did, and thank you for bringing that up, because it is something that I love about you guys. I always feel like you're informing, even when she'll bring home the slushies.
Yes.
And she experimented with a different one. I'm like, okay, now I'm a little nervous.
Different than the last one.
I'm gonna need you to explain to me. She told me that because I forget who was behind the counter, informed her thoroughly on what it was about, that it was going to be a little different, and it was. Took me for a little bit of a ride, but I didn't. It was not unexpected.
You weren't caught off guard.
I was not caught off guard. But back to the SB.
Yes,
3.
It's Senate Bill 3, and the Senate. It's our Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick that submitted this bill, and it has in fact passed the Senate. It's very unlikely it will pass the House, because it's a fairly ridiculous claim.
That's good to hear.
Right? What the bill would do if passed, it would make all hemp-derived THC products illegal. It's a total ban. We're down to 0.3 now is what's federally legal. This would reduce it to 0.0001. It's a level that you can't get to. You wouldn't be able to produce even an isolated CBD product. It's going to be really difficult to have less than 0.0001 Delta 9 THC. So it eliminates all CBD products. CBG, all those products will be illegal. And we have several concerns. Our main concern is the fact that it's going to drive our customers back to the black market.
Yes.
And ultimately the cartels, right? And I read articles daily about the problems with black market, and how in some cases it's laced with fentanyl, and so it's caused multiple hospitalizations, in some cases death, because it doesn't take very much for fentanyl to kill a human.
That's insanity.
And there's never been any death from a THC use, and so it's confusing. The other things that are confusing about this bill is he's giving essentially 3 reasons why he wants to ban THC products in the state of Texas.
What are they?
One is he says that it's available to children, which is certainly not true in our case.
Great.
I don't know of any reputable businesses that don't take it upon themselves to age gate, even though it's not required by the state. We would like it to be, so that other businesses will fall in line.
Does he assume that because it isn't strictly stipulated that people are just willy-nilly walking in here and selling it to kids? How does somebody just come up with that idea? That seems silly to me.
It's impossible to know because it gets even more ridiculous.
Okay,
honestly.
continue. I'm sorry.
I mean, at number one of the adjectives used in their verbiage is that it's life-threatening, which of course it's not. Buying marijuana from the street and or the cartels is in fact life-threatening because that's where they're finding it's been laced with fentanyl.
Right.
So
That's where you're going with this.
Yeah. He's also claiming, in addition to it being available to children and it being, I guess the third is he's saying it's mislabeled. It's not labeled properly. And so adults don't know what they're getting. Wow. When in fact, that is actually part of the requirements that we, as a license holder, we are required to lab test our product, and we carry certificates of analyses for all of our products. We have QR codes on our packaging that takes you to that COA so that you can see that it's been lab tested. So the three reasons that he's giving the public for his wish to ban the products are all three invalid.
Wow. Easily invalid.
We can really only guess, what his actual motives are.
Right.
And so I know that I want to, make my estimations on public record, but it's about money, of course.
Right. I have heard that there was somebody, I want to say it was a local politician, a local state representative that introduced a different bill that expanded it. Is that true? Did I imagine that? Are you familiar with that particular bill?
It is true. And it's the reason why we don't think there's any chance it's going to pass through the House of Representatives, because it's the House of Representatives that are taking an opposing view. They're writing bills in an attempt to change it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3.
Okay.
And for anyone that doesn't recognize what that means is it's, marijuana is currently Schedule 1. And it never should have been, because in order to qualify as a Schedule 1, it has to be addictive, which THC products are not physically addictive. There has to be a high occurrence of abuse, which there isn't. Now, there are for other legal products in the state: alcohol, cigarettes, caffeine, right?
Prescription drugs.
Right. I forget the third.
What does it have to be?
Yes. I forget the third, but all three of them, THC does not apply.
When I saw the second one, or actually I think I saw the one in support of it and expanding what's possible, I was excited because I hear the stories of how it truly is helping people, even if you just focus on the military and the PTSD and how THC can dramatically help that, or some of the other psychedelics. But then obviously then you hear this bill that's being introduced, and I'm wondering how we will go. And I'm hoping, to your point, that we have some reasonable individuals that will fight it enough to where it never goes through, and you feel confident that it won't.
We do. And other reasons financially is the fact that the hemp industry in Texas as of 2022 was $8 billion and employed more than 50,000 people.
There's a legitimate reason, tax.
Absolutely.
Foundational tax reason that it should stay, because it benefits us as a population, but individuals as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And forcing an $8 billion industry into the hands of the cartel,
right? Yeah.
Makes no sense. And then you've got 50,000 people that will be unemployed, that are going to be collecting unemployment. And, the cost to the state is over $700 million. It makes no sense. I mean, think there's over 8,300 retailers in Texas.
Okay.
And imagine all the lease agreements that are going to be broken and the impact on the local economy.
It's going to be dramatic.
It'd be horrible.
I think the CBD and these types of shops are a case study to me of what's possible when you legalize it and you have legalization in place. You have regulation in place to help people. And on the flip side of that, if you make it unlawful, those individuals are still going to look for health.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's why the black markets exist. So
yes,
it's going to create problems. You've helped alleviate it. Mm-hmm. Then now we can walk around in the sunlight and be able to consume these things in a way that actually benefits us and not puts us in danger. And And I didn't realize, because I've never played in that space, the illegal stuff, to where I started reading on the psychedelics, and the fears are the fentanyl, the being laced with it, which is crazy to me, because I'm like, why would you do that to your customers, even as the black market? Right. Why would you kill your people?
Because it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's cheap to substitute it in.
It makes it a stronger product, a more sought after product, unless it kills you.
But that's the risk they're willing to take, because there's enough people that still come to them.
Right.
But why do that when we can do this legally?
Well, and Tracy was just sharing an article this morning out of, was it Atlanta? Or the state of Georgia, that had decriminalized marijuana and seen that their violent crime actually went down after legalizing, because their police force could reallocate resources.
Focus more on violent crime versus pursuing marijuana.
Stupid things like this.
Hey, remember earlier when I told you about Rockstar Marketing and how we could stop your marketing strategy from flopping around like a fish in the desert? Yeah, that's still true. But maybe you didn't catch that. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I'll just keep throwing money at random ads. I'm sure something will stick eventually, right? Wrong. Spoiler alert, it won't. Look, you don't want to be that business owner that keeps trying to solve their marketing woes with duct tape and wishful thinking. You need results. You need Rockstar.marketing. So if you're finally ready to stop the slow motion train wreck that is your current marketing plan, visit www.rockstar.marketing and let's make your business the rockstar it deserves to be. Otherwise, enjoy those crickets, and now back to our show.
Insane. I have just a random question. Either one of you can ask this. If CBD had a dating profile, what would be a 3-word description to tell you what they were all about?
Oh my gosh. Tracy and I guarantee you, Tracy and I have never had a dating profile.
I figured it was.
We're too old. Okay, 3 words to describe CBD. Relief. I don't know if that's a good describing word. Relief.
Pain relief.
Calm. Fun.
Yeah, the first thought that came to my mind was stable.
Stable. Yeah.
CBD.
That's good. If it's a dating, it's stable. That's good. Yeah, I knew you were gonna have something more creative than me.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I heard a conversation with my wife on the phone just last night with a friend of hers that is now divorced and back into the dating world.
Good for her.
And I heard her side of the conversation, talking about how, at least there's some stability there. So I can imagine, what it's like to be out there in the dating world and the lack of stability, and how once you find another person that where you feel like there's some stability,
you want to hang on to it. Yeah.
CBD products there's more than just CBD that are known to be mood stabilizers in the plant. And there's 130 different cannabinoids found in the plant that we know of, and several of them are mood stabilizers. And so it really helps people, in some cases, calm their mood, right? There's a lot of people with stress and anxiety that have tried pharmaceutical medications with no results whatsoever. And they find that our products help them immediately and consistently. And that's only a few reasons why you would choose our products over a pharmaceutical medication.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I went to a psychedelics conference last year in Las Vegas, and I was trying to understand. And there was an individual there. He's a surgeon and a doctor in his previous life, but he said that the cannabis plant seems to have a multitude of elements to it that can help the human beings, the experience of being a human being. And he goes on to say that the anxiety and everything that we feel, we're obviously living through that. Mm-hmm. So if cannabis and THC can help an individual feel less stress, less anxiety, then they can actually live a more fulfilling life. They can parent better. They can show up to work better. They can be more productive. But knowing that there's this plant that has existed for thousands and thousands of years and been used in so many cultures, it's so beneficial, it just boggled my mind. And he went on to say, and this is also new information for me, he said that, I want to say before the turn of the century, 1900s, not this century, but pharmacists were required to be able to create a tincture of cannabis because it used to be used for so much that society and that culture to help with a lot of pain or whatever was going on in their lives. It was just useful for all types of different things, which speaks to what you're talking about. And for me, I was absolutely floored. Like, it used to be legal. It used to be all these beautiful things that could help individuals, and to know that we're here and there's a bill that's saying quite the opposite with little to no proof of it, and we're supposed to just stand still.
Yeah, what's funny is you're right. It used to be part of our pharmacopoeia, right? And the reason it changed then was all about money, because the cotton industry and other textiles felt threatened by hemp because it grows faster. It's cheaper to cultivate, and it was a threat to their businesses, right? And so the people with money back in those days got together, the lobbyists, the politicians. That's why it was made illegal in the first place. That's why it was scheduled as one, when of course it shouldn't be. And the reason it's under fire right now is for the same reason. It's about money.
But our bodies actually have a system that receives the cannabis and puts it to use. And I think that's what you're talking about, the endocannabinoid system.
Yes. Like, there's like almost a perfect match.
That's right.
What the cannabis has and what our bodies are receiving. Right?
Correct.
Like a puzzle almost.
Yeah, there's a physiological system within our bodies called the endocannabinoid system. And our bodies have many physiological systems: the cardiovascular system, the neurological system, the digestive system. And those are isolated, to our brains, our guts, our hearts, our lungs. But the endocannabinoid system is unique in that it has receptors throughout those other physiological systems. And so those are found throughout our bodies, and are able to receive those cannabinoids sort of where they're needed to do the things like reduce anxiety, reduce inflammation, improve sleep. The entire job of the endocannabinoid system is to restore our bodies to homeostasis, meaning balance.
Right. To regulate. It regulates up and down.
And keep us even keel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. We have our own endocannabinoids, right, that we produce naturally, that we have deficiencies because our diet has gotten so poor over time. So it just so happens that the phytocannabinoids that are available in the cannabis plant binds with the same receptors. And so by consuming the cannabis plant, it goes and finds those receptors that are void of our natural endocannabinoids, and it binds with those. And so it helps us get back into homeostasis, and it regulates both up and down.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely
This is
fascinating.
inflammation, calms your mood. It does any number of very, very helpful wellness things.
Mm-hmm.
So the majority of us here consume a full spectrum CBD product consistently daily, because if you consume roughly 60 milligrams daily consistently, then it stays in your body consistently, and it helps to reset your circadian rhythm. It's fairly magical.
That might be what Carla came home with the other day then.
Yes, it is.
As she has me taking a dropper of it to improve my already charming self.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, are there any final thoughts that you would like to share with our audience, with the public, as it relates to your shop, as it relates to the SB3, that you would like them to know that maybe I wasn't able to ask? Anything that you have in
This has
mind?
been a great conversation, but I just hope that the takeaway is open-mindedness and just a willingness to maybe come see us, come see.
Oh, that's a good.
Just to talk to one of us here and find out what's happening, directly from the horse's mouth.
Right.
Visit us and get to know us, because really our passion is to be a part of this community, to be good neighbors, to just help us all feel better.
Did you have a thought?
I would say that it's not your doctor's fault that he or she doesn't know anything about plant medicine, because the medical schools and their ongoing education is absolutely funded and controlled by the pharmaceutical companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just don't know. I mean, it's not that they don't want to prescribe natural medicine. They just don't know to prescribe it. And so in order to get good information about plant medicine, it's important to come see a specialist, do your own research, of course. We invite all of our customers to do their own research before or after they come visit us. But the information is there, whether it's us or elsewhere. Look into plant medicine, because I found it to be so much more beneficial than any pharmaceutical.
Yeah, without all the side effects.
Yeah. Or addiction.
Yes, all of that.
Or deaths.
Yeah.
Someone in America dies every 19 minutes from an overdose of a pharmaceutical medication. Accidental.
And that's
most of those are accidental.
It's the most unfortunate and ridiculous thing at the same time. I get a kick out of Metro East Dallas networking. One of the things I get a kick out of and made me feel like we are transitioning in terms of how we are perceiving it as a general public is how well people speak of you and the product and the shop. How they talk about how they're able to sleep, how they're feel less anxious. I'm hearing them in real time, older individuals that are giving it a chance. The younger individuals are more open, obviously, but the older ones, because it was a massive propaganda that was pushed on us. I don't want to get too much into it, but to hear them adamantly proclaim how you have helped them and their puppies even, because I think you have stuff for dogs.
Yeah.
So it's the fact that it can help so many creatures is fascinating, and I love it. It's something I had never even considered. So with that, unless you have any final words, I'd like to thank you for being a part of this. You are legends. You are definitely changing the mood and the health of people that are coming in. And I would definitely also invite you to come in here. If you have questions, or if you're still feeling like, well, yeah, of course they'll say that it's in their best interest, because that's what people will say, is come in here and actually talk to them and find out what it's about and check it out, because you're going to be floored. It is not a hole in the wall type of joint that is doing these things that they're supposedly doing, bad labeling, selling to kids. You come in here, it's going to be quite clear that those things are not true, and probably not true for most of the industry. But with that, my name is Teevee. This is Summer. I got it. Tracy. In real time, I just couldn't. Thank you for tuning in. I will make sure to have information about the shop in the description and the show notes and everywhere, to make sure you come in here, check them out, and find out what this is all about, what CBD is about, what THC is about, and hopefully improve your health as well as those in your circle. Thank you again. My name is Teevee, and I'll see you later. Bye.